Right guys, the parts that you're going to need to do this lower service will be two little seals for your oil drain and oil fill screws. So two of those, they cost like $30. Just change them or you're going to have issues. Two prop shaft seals, two drive shaft seals, your water pump gaskets for top and bottom, a new impeller, the oil pump to refill the oil into the lower, and then this is a litre of oil. You should use just over 700 mils or so per crankcase depending on the size of the motor. But yeah, so that's all the spares that you're going to need. So let's get cracking and I'll show you what we're going to do. So now we want to drain the oil out of this lower gearbox. So you've got an oil level screw there and you've got a drain screw at the bottom there, as you can see. So what you need to do is you need to take this screw out first, get yourself a nice little drip bucket. You take the screw out first, the oil is going to run down the bottom there and it's going to drip into the container, and once that's going you're going to remove your oil level screw, which will allow the air to go in there and it'll allow all the oil to come out. It should drain in about 5 to 10 minutes. I don't know what condition this oil is going to be like. Obviously me doing all of this now is allowing me to understand the history. Right guys, I pulled the drain plug out and water is coming out of this lower, which is very sad. Very, very, very sad. That's all that came out of there at the moment. So I'm going to pull the top air screw out now and let's hope some oil at least comes out. Hey guys, how's it? Welcome back. Alright, so yesterday we had some nightmares with these motors. Both gearboxes only water. The one gearbox had a little bit of oil, but by the time it had finished draining there's probably about 200 mils of water and oil mixed, where they apparently take about 650 mils. So that one was empty. The left hand one, as you saw in the video, had about 500 mils of water. I have changed all the seals. I'm waiting for one gasket to come in, which I will put into the video once I assemble the motors again, which will arrive Thursday, so I'll probably do the motors on Sunday. So for now what we are going to do is I'm going to move the batteries back to under the seats, because with category R you can't have batteries and fuel lines or batteries and fuel in the same compartment, and the fuel lines on this boat run through the battery compartment, so I need to move the batteries. And I'm going to tidy up all the cabling. I've replaced the throttle cable, so I'm going to refeed all of that now, and then I will show you when it's all done. Okay, so as you can see the batteries are under there, and the fuel lines run on the right hand side of the batteries, which is not legal. So I'm going to have to move the batteries because I can't move the fuel lines unless I move the fuel to the back, which I'm happy with the fuel where it is now. Everything should be fine. And then I'm going to sort out all this mess, reroute it, and I'm going to bring it through this false transom at the back. You can see two little pencil marks I made there. I'm going to mount these goodies and allow all the cables to come through for each motor, and push the battery cables through and put the batteries into that housing at the back there. So hopefully everything will be a lot neater when I'm done. Right guys, we're making progress. Batteries have been taken out. I pulled all the excess wires, the battery cables and stuff through. I've started to neaten up all of this. The tachometer wires I'll drill through the console just now, and then as you can see I've split my steering cable and throttle cables and all the monitoring cables and stuff going to the motor. Fuel lines, which are now starting to come through the little grommets. Right guys, so let's put the gearbox back together. Basically, this is your drive shaft. This is the water pump housing. You get your two drive shaft seals that go inside here. You get a black O-ring that goes on inside here. You get a gasket that comes underneath, a gasket that goes on top, two locking pins, a metal gasket, another paper gasket, and then you get your impeller and then the housing. So I'm going to put it all together for you now and just show you the few things that you need. So basically what we're going to do first is I'm going to knock the seals into place. Okay, so these seals, you do them with the plate upwards. Basically knock the first one in flat, place the second one on top. This particular one you use a 27 socket. Oh, almost lost the one. As you can see, it's going in. A little bit more. You basically knock it till the second seal is flush. So that's the seal done. Then you need to grab your O-ring. Guys, when you're doing impellers and stuff like that, it's so simple to do these extra little add-ons that it just makes more sense. What I like to do is put a little bit of grease onto here. It just helps everything seal and slot together nicely. O-ring on, get a little bit of that grease over the O-ring. Okay, so that's drive shaft seals basically done. I want to start assembling the water pump again. So now we need our first paper gasket. So as I said, there's three. This is the first one here. You'll see your two little vents. You need to keep them into that area over there. So you drop it over the shaft, get it into place. Water pump housing over the top. Nice and flat. Okay, so that one's in place. Then you need to get your two little locking pins. The one comes at the back here, and the one comes in the front there. I'm just going to tap them into place so they don't jump out. So that's locking pins into place. Your second gasket, you can see where the gaskets go just by looking at the pattern of the water pump. You see I'm using all Yamaha original parts. Don't use the cheapies. You really don't do yourself any favors. And the Yamaha parts are reasonable, so yeah, don't shortcut. You'll see the gasket's got your two little locking pin holes. So you come over the shaft once again, gasket into place. The metal gasket plate, like I said, again, look for your little locking holes, bring that over the top, into place. Third gasket, locking holes. It's very simple. You can't get this wrong. So that's all your gaskets and your locking plates in place. Then you've got your little key for your impeller. So just turn your shaft. I put a little bit of grease in there just to hold it in place when I can see it. There she is. Okay, a little bit of grease so she just holds in place. Put a little bit of grease on the shaft so the impeller slides down nicely. Just a section. You don't need a lot. Then with your impeller, guys, oh, that's the old one, sorry. Get your new impeller out. Guys, you'll see on the impeller there's a little keyway. As you can see, the keyway goes over the key, so make sure you get that in the right position. And then what I do is I just hold the little key to help me slot it up. That's the impeller locked into place. You got the water pump housing top that you're going to put on now. Sorry, I had cleaned all of this, just making sure there's no dust. Alright, and then again, I just put a smidgen of grease on here just to help the impeller turn while you get it set in. Don't put too much because the grease, I've heard of grease flowing through the water and it blocks your telltale. So the impeller's working but you're not getting the water out. So yeah, just be careful of that. Alright, so that's greased up and ready to go. And now basically slot this over the top until you meet up with the impeller. And then I turn the drive shaft clockwise while putting a little bit of pressure on the impeller housing, which allows the arms to feed into place. That's it, it's closed. Long bolts to the front. Short bolts to the back. And that's basically it, guys. Impeller done, drive shaft seals done. This is a 12 socket, by the way. So impeller done, new water pump seals, O-rings, everything. So this water pump is brand spanking new. And yeah, right guys, so now we're going to put the lower back onto the motor. As you can see, I've got the motor up. So what we do now is, once again, put a little bit of grease onto the splines. This is what goes into the motor. So just a bit of grease for lubrication, prolong the life of the motor, and you're off and away. Okay. Right guys, and we're basically in. I see the shifter was up, so I've just pulled it down into reverse. Line up your locking pins and put your first bolt in place to hold it in. So that just holds it in place. Put your 4 bolts in, one more there, another 2 on the other side, and then where your trim tab was, you get another one that goes inside there, then you put the trim tab back in again, I'm going to put this cover back on, clean up the lower, and then you need to reconnect your gear shifter. That's a 10 spanner. You basically adjust that down onto there. Try and get it back to where you had it before. I remember that my lock nut was 4 turns down. That's where it locked before. So I'm going to adjust that top nut down the shaft until I'm more or less where this lock nut was 3 or 4 turns. So there's about 2 threads below the lock nut. Then put your prop back on. Alright guys, so we're going to top up the oil, or fill the oil in the lowers now that we've got all the seals done. This is the little oil pump that you need. You obviously got your breather hole up here. It says oil level. It's a breather hole and an oil level to make sure that you got enough oil. You got the drain at the bottom where you had drained out. So what you do is you plug your pump into the drain hole. It comes, this is a Quicksilver one, it comes with this little fitting so it fits in nicely. That's in, nice and tight. Then you open your oil. Got your handy little pump, because you obviously can't pour uphill. Oops, a little bit of spillage. I'll clean that just now. And then you start to pump. So I just want to grab a cloth so I can just wipe this bottle up before it gets all over the floor. Okay, so now you pump away. I can hear it starting to wheeze at the top there, which means that it's okay. So it's there. It's just starting to weep. It's just starting to weep, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it stand for a few minutes, try and let any possible air that was in there come up to the top and let the level drop a little, and then I'll just do another 1 pump or 2 pumps just to let it flow over. Then from there you put your first screw in, which will be your oil level screw, so it holds that oil in. You'll put it in. Make sure that you change the gasket on the screws. See the old one. Don't think that you can use it. These things cost like 30 bucks. Just change them, because this thing here, if it leaks, your oil's either going to come out or you're going to get water in the oil and you've got problems. For 30 bucks, put a new one on and you're A for away. On the top and the bottom, guys. So we'll be back when I'm about to close it up. Okay guys, so we've had it standing for a while. I'm going to give a little bit of a pump just to try and put a little bit more in until it starts coming over the top. Took another one, starting to. Wow, that's all fresh oil, no air. Okay, I'll double check that that's tight just now, so that should hold that into place. You'll see I changed the gaskets. The old ones are red, these are new black ones. Put it out, put your new one in. And that's closed. That's new oil in, guys. New oil's in, done and dusted. Now I'm going to do the second motor, but it's as easy as that, guys. little bit of maintenance, and Bob's your uncle. No issues, or less issues I should say. So yeah, guys, stay tuned for a little bit longer, and we'll get them up, and I'll make sure that they engage in gear correctly and everything. So yeah, hope you're enjoying so far. Alright guys, done and done. So we've got the water running now, as you can see. We're about to start them up and make sure that the gears are all operating correctly, forward and backwards, turning off at the right time, engaging at the right time. The one motor was battling before, not battling, but it was not as smooth going into reverse as it should have been. So let's see. Right, here we go. Nice, nice, nice. Right, let's change the water over quickly. So that one seems to be all good. Let's give this one a swing. Probably have to adjust those carbs a little. Yeah. Let's see if I can get up here for you. Try and catch the prop. Forward. Backwards. Happiness is. I'm just gonna adjust these carbs a little bit. They're running a little bit too rich, so just lean them out a bit and then we should be good to go.